Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our conversation today. I'm so excited to have you all joining us. It is 9:35, so we're getting started promptly and on time. Thanks again for all of you who showed up to the class way before class time. I love to see it, and I'm seeing all the familiar faces or names from our time together last week. Now, today, we're going to be diving into one of my favorite conversations as I've been sharing. But before I do that, I do want to welcome Philip and just ask if you have any special messages for us today from Caribbean Export.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I was just jumping from one meeting to the other since this morning. I'm happy to be here. No, I'm just gonna share in the chat the links to the two previous sessions, the video links to the previous sessions. And later on, I'm going to share again the link for the BSOs to sign up for our virtual e-commerce accelerator program. So thank you, Stacy. Take care.
Okay, excellent. All right, so let's jump right in. I'm hoping that maybe today we'll have a lot of questions, unless I have a bunch of digital marketing experts in the room. And maybe I do, who knows? This is a really dynamic and diverse bunch. So I'm curious to kind of see what comes up for you all as we begin this conversation. So I encourage you to ask your questions and to make sure that you are pulling everything that you need from these sessions, because that's why I'm here, right? And I look forward to having this discussion with you. And I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. You should have also, by the way, received the manual for class. However, I'm going to go ahead and also just drop it in the chat in case you did not receive it. And by email, I would have sent it by email. Just look for Stacy Hines in your mailbox. So I've gone ahead now and just shared that with you in the chat, just in case you didn't receive it. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about communication and sales channels. And as I was sharing earlier, this is one of my favorite topics because I've been telling you guys how much I love to talk. I think you've seen evidence of that now. We're going on second week strong, right? So looking forward to talking more about one of my favorite topics. Now, as we go into our conversation, I just want to remind everybody of our ground rules. Everyone will participate to the extent that he or she feels comfortable. You get out what you put in. So that kind of ties back in, guys, to what I was sharing with you, that you really want to ask your questions, make comments, begin that conversation so that you can get insight and information from me. We can disagree with one another and provide feedback as long as we do so constructively and respectively. Put on our listening hats. We love deep listeners, right? So you want to make sure that you're not just listening to me, but should we have somebody brave step up to the mic today, that you are listening to them also. This is a place where we make mistakes. We are allowed to make mistakes and we are allowed to learn and grow. Myself included, I've been learning quite a bit over our last couple of sessions together. And we agreed to be responsible for our own behavior. And for those of you that may be joining us for the first time, I want to say a special welcome. I am Stacy Hines, your facilitator, and I am certified in many things. Interestingly enough, one of them is actually product marketing strategy. I used to be the vice president for a software company, and that was my role. My role was all about product marketing and strategy. And at one point, when I just moved back to Jamaica, I actually I was working for a group of companies, and I created a digital marketing agency inside of the group, because we were still, as an island, we were still learning about digital marketing and digital marketing strategy. And because I had brought some of that knowledge back with me, I went ahead and just created an agency for all the companies that were a part of our group of companies. And so, guys, today is the day to ask the questions, right? Because there's definitely been a lot of on the ground, hands-on experience in this topic. So I look forward to sharing with all of you. We're going to go ahead and get started and talk about our agenda for today. Just a brief course overview talking about what we'll be learning. We're going to get into customer journey mapping, which is a very important and often overlooked aspect of communicating and selling and then serving our customers. So customer journey mapping is something that's going to be really key for our BSOs to learn and understand. And as I mentioned, it's often overlooked. Next, we're going to be moving into digital marketing and advertising. And then we're going to talk a little bit about social media engagement. What we want to make sure that you're able to get out of this is an understanding of the concept of a customer journey map and be able to create a basic one. What I will say about creating a customer journey map is that they have really, really simple and easy to follow templates available online. And so I encourage you to encourage your BSOs. And if you're in marketing in any way, shape, or form in your own in your company that you work with now that's serving the BSOs, I encourage you to do this exercise as well for the BSOs that you are serving. It's a great exercise to take on. We also want to talk a little bit about digital marketing in terms of the different types. I like to examine, that digital marketing is an essential part of business today. It just doesn't have to look the same for everyone. And so that's one of the things I want to make sure that we're able to have as a takeaway from this experience. And then, of course, we're going to list some of the best practices for businesses that are using social media to engage with customers. So let's get started. Customer journey mapping, right? When you think of your customer and you're thinking of the journey that they're taking, this is the journey from when they first become aware of who you are, what it is that you do, all the way through to when they are now loyal customers and they are becoming repeat customers, right? And for many of our small businesses, our MSMEs in particular, this customer journey conversation is one that tends to get left on the back burner, especially if you're providing something that's considered a need, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm selling toilet paper or toothpaste or, something that people have to have. And so maybe I don't have to figure out what is the path that they took to become aware of us, or, I don't have to worry about the different ways that I'm bringing traffic to the store or to the website or to any of those things. And so at this point in time, it's really critical for us to understand for ourselves, where do I sit in my customer journey with the different tools and services that I use? And remember, I've been saying to you guys that one of the things you want to do is when you're going into an engagement with your BSOs is for you to actually know, try out their different platforms, especially if they're online, become a customer before you go into to start engaging them about digital transformation, because then you become a real life business case, which is the best part, right? So a company's digital transformation, it starts with understanding the priorities of the customer and the different stages that the customer moves through as they are seeking to satisfy whatever challenge they are having or provide whatever pleasure they are seeking, right? Once a business can identify what its customers and stakeholders want and need, it can then set goals around the different touch points that a customer might engage with you on. And this helps them to see where digital products and processes can be added to reach that final destination. Now, when you think about a customer journey map, what it's doing is that it's exploring every single interaction that a customer, an employee, or a stakeholder has with a product, service, or retail experience. And just to stick a pin right here, folks, right? when you think about a customer, oftentimes we think about the person that is coming to the business to get support, whether it is for any kind of product or whether if it is related to any kind of service. But I want to wake everybody up to the point of you have different types of customers that are not just the ones that are coming up to the business to buy something. You have also your internal customer, right? Which is the employee or your stakeholders. Like if there's a board of advisors or a board of directors, or even the persons that work with them to support building up the company, right? All of these interactions are customer interactions. And as a matter of fact, a potential customer is also interacting with you differently than an actual customer. And so all these different nuances are things that you have to think about as you are engaging your BSOs around their customer journey maps, and what they need to ensure is a part of that mapping experience. Now, how does the map support a business? It can assist companies in understanding how their customers make decisions, right? It reveals the type of information, sources, emotions, and other factors that can influence customers and their choices. And another benefit of mapping out the journey is that it gathers a deeper understanding of what the consumer is thinking and feeling at each touch point. So now we're getting into the Aki of it. I was saying earlier in the call that when you're in your element or in a space that you really enjoy, in Jamaica, we call it, you're in your Aki, right? Aki is the national dish of Jamaica. And so I was talking about just discussing communication and digital marketing. You'll see me in my Aki. And so what I wanted to find out from the other islands that are represented here is if there is another colloquial term or phrase that's used in your island to describe being in your element, right? This is me in my element, yeah? Okay. So when you think about your customer journey map and how you're going to impart the importance of having even a simple map in place for our BSOs, one of the things that will be revealed in this mapping experience is that it's not just about the fact that, well, they come to the website or they see an ad on Google, or on their phones when they're scrolling through Instagram, they see an ad pop up, and that helps them to become aware of a product or service. No, it also has to do with the feeling that they get, because the feeling that they have when they interact with anything that your company is communicating, that is the feeling that they're going to respond to. And so when you hear about companies talking about paid advertising, which we'll get into when we start discussing digital marketing, sometimes they'll run tests to see, they call them A/B tests. They'll run tests to see which ads do people respond to. And that is helping them to determine what to use on the customer journey. So if you have two ads and one ad doesn't make a person feel as excited about another ad, then that is going to mean the difference between somebody clicking on a yes, I'm interested button versus somebody choosing to just scroll past, right? And so this benefit of seeing that deeper, that deeper set of information, those insights, and understanding the thinking behind our potential customers and our customers, it's such a powerful tool. And you accompany this communications piece with the data. It's like your mind is blown. It's so amazing what you can unearth and what will allow our businesses to serve their customers better and allow them to attract more potential customers into that conversion process. Okay. I hope you guys getting your questions ready for me, because I'm looking for them. All right. Salesforce UK has shared with us that the process of determining the journey can help SMEs make each interaction feel personal for the consumer. And that human-centric approach is something customers value. Now, digital has actually ushered in the age of the customer. No longer is it okay to say, I am making a widget, build it, and they will come. We are now at the effect of customer demand in a way that we've never experienced it before. And so what this whole journey process will do for SMEs is help them with understanding the different components of the path, the feeling, the touch points, and also bring a bit more clarity into how they will be serving and supporting the customers along their path to becoming, persons who are loyal to brands. Now, let's look at the different touch points that occur throughout the customer journey. You have to ask yourself certain questions, and these are some of the questions that will help to agitate the thinking that BSOs have around our customer experience. What actions are customers taking at each step? What does that mean? Well, when a customer comes on in the awareness phase, which is that first phase, they may very well be attracted to a blog post or an email, but not to social media. So maybe it is that at that very first step of awareness, when they're becoming aware of you, you're sending out emails to a database, and they happen to be in that database, because sometimes, you have blast emails that go out from membership communities or associations, or maybe you're a part of an email newsletter that goes out from a media company, and maybe they see it there and they see the email, but they saw you on social as well, and they're like, okay, well, I trust what comes from this email because it's a newsletter that I'm familiar with, and so I'm going to click here, right? So that's in the awareness stage. You're observing that they're choosing to interact more by email than by social media. Right now, at the next stage, where it's like consideration, which is now where you sent them something to download. Consideration is where you want to actually see if they're interested. What are they going to do? Are they going to give me their name and email address? Are they going to give me their phone number so that I can start texting them, right? What are they going to be doing in that consideration phase to say, yeah, I think I might come back and check out what you have as your product or service? Right. So you're going to be looking at the different actions that the customer takes at each stage in the journey, and then determine what works, what doesn't work, and how to tweak and change things. What are the motivations that keep moving them forward? So what is actually taking them along that path when they're leaving from awareness to consideration to the decision-making conversion piece, and then to loyalty? What are some of the things that our companies need to be doing to help keep customers motivated? I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you see an ad or an ad on social media or an email come through, and it's literally talking to you. You feel like, oh my gosh, they have done their homework. I am their ideal customer. They're talking to me, right? And so you click in excitement because, yes, you're interested in whatever they're doing. You go to the website, and it popped down, it not working. Oh my gosh, that sinking feeling. Forget about it if you're actually in the process of trying to convert. Like, let's say that you've moved past awareness, you're already aware of who they are, and you go on now and you're like, oh, I love this platform, I'm going to buy something. And you click on your thing, you put it in the cart, and then you're trying to check out, and the checkout not working. Oh, that's even more disappointing. Now, you can see, right, that at different stages along the path, things can demotivate a customer. And so that's one of the reasons why, guys, I'm telling you that before you go into engaging your BSOs, you want to take the opportunity to just check in on their processes, test out their different funnels, their different pathways, their journeys that may not be mapped, but are there for you to take advantage of. Right? Another thing that you can help to support identifying the touch points throughout the journey is determining what questions they have and what may be holding them back from a purchase. Now, when you think about some of the things we discussed last week, we were looking at whether or not people are able to give feedback right? We talked about whether or not our customers are able to actually provide us with feedback or ask us questions or engage with us, and putting digital tools in place to allow them to be able to actually interact with us. This is where that particular piece of transformation occurs. Because if you are trying to understand what motivates customers or demotivates them along their journey, then making sure that they can, the contact us, sometimes it's a simple contact us page or form that they can easily complete and use that as a mechanism to get back to the company, and not one that it goes off into never land, right? It has to be one that comes back to the company and allows them to actually now respond to the customer, right? So we're seeing how the connection between the tools that we talked about in our last session really connect with building out now this customer journey map. And then you'll also be able to understand what are the barriers to the purchase process or to converting them or to even having them engage. Is it the cost? Is it the difficulty in the process itself? And through utilizing the different methods that we just discussed, you'll be able to get more insight in that. And guys, I just want to share that this is what the power of digital transformation holds for all our companies and for us as individuals. It affords us the opportunity to engage with people at every stage of their journey. And in the stage of the journey, you can look at the data. So it's not like you're guessing and spelling. Remember when business used to be guess and spell, right? And you can't be sure. So you're thinking things through and you're trying to identify it. You're not sure whether or not this campaign is working. You're hoping that the thing will sell. And then maybe after 30 days of seeing your product sit on a shelf, you recognize, this may not be working, right? So this is what your MSMEs are having to think through and to tolerate without digital. No, with the tech at each stage of the journey. It's literally like you unlocked a genie from a bottle that can come out and just say to you, they don't really like this ad that you put out, or they don't really like this email because you're not getting any responses from it. Like, it's literally like you have that available to you at any given point in time along this path. So we've been talking about the different phases, right? All the touch points that a customer experiences: awareness, consideration, purchase or conversion, their experience of the product, and loyalty. And I'll caution you that when you go online outside of this course, you will see different variations of this, but they all point back to the same thing. You might see words like conversion or decision, or you'll see purchase, etc. But it's the same path. And if you see yourself as the customer, like wearing that customer hat, you can also identify with this path. Okay. Now let's talk about some of the things related to the touch points throughout the customer journey. You really want to use them as a guide in defining the touch points, right? And when you think about funnels, you're going to encounter multiple funnels that you'll have to explain to your BSOs. One that may have been more familiar before digital marketing became a thing was the sales funnel or the sales path, which is technically very aligned with your customer journey map. Now, what has happened is that your sales path or your sales funnel now has a brother or a sister, whatever you want to call it, that is your online sales funnel that is complemented by your digital marketing funnel, right? So you have all these different terms that are essentially representing the same thing. How do I, as a business, get my information, brand, product, or service in front of a potential customer, my ideal customer, in an awareness, bring them into awareness, capture their attention, and then move them through a path, move them through a funnel, and literally the funnels are in the shape of a V for the most part, move them towards this process of converting, of becoming a part of my loyalty community, my loyal community of customers, where I'm now thinking about how to keep them, how to retain them, and how to bring them back purchasing more. Okay. When you are thinking through the process of engaging your BSOs, this is what you want to make sure that you are reflecting to and with them. Walk through the entire process of engaging with the business's product while playing the role of a customer from the initial contact to the end stage. Include all touch points on the journey and consider how to personalize them. Create different consumer personas with various demographics to explore how each customer interacts with the business. And of course, there is technology or software that can support all of this. I will caution though, guys, that while there is software that can support all of this process, there is interaction that has to take place. You have to have a strategy. Remember, we talked last week about having that strategy, that vision, that original intention. And then leading from that strategy, you now want to move into, well, what is the digital strategy that's going to help me with achieving all these different things, right? So when you are talking to the BSOs, one of the areas that I find is very useful, the same way I'm telling you to walk through as though you are a customer of the company you are supporting, you want to ask them, have you become your own customer? Many companies out there, especially in our SME space, in particular, when you've been a business for a little while and are not necessarily using a test, learn, and measure kind of approach, many of our businesses haven't actually walked through the process of being a customer. Sometimes they'll build websites and they haven't actually tested out all aspects to the website. They just want to see that it's up and it can be used. And we will oftentimes leave the trusting of the website and the building out and the making sure it works to not just team members, but sometimes the companies or the agencies that we employ to build out and use software to provide us with these services. So this part here where we're talking about having them walk through the process of engaging with the product or service in the same way that you're going to do it, they need to be doing that for themselves for each stage of the digital transformation. It sounds like a heavy lift. And what is true about it, guys, is that while it may require some effort in the beginning, it will set up success further down the road. Because the worst thing that can happen, or one off, because there's probably many things, is that you throw up your website or your landing page or your new platform, your marketplace platform, haven't tested it as a customer would experience it. And then you do a big digital marketing campaign, have all these people rush in, and then it's not working. That can literally ruin a brand in a moment's notice. So we want to make sure that our BSOs understand how critical it is for the stages of this customer journey to not only be mapped. As a matter of fact, sometimes what actually supports the mapping process is having them walk through as a customer, because then they can now see whether or not the intention that they have behind each of the different phases is working the way they want it to work. All right. Now, 2 points here to note that AI, which we discussed in our last session, can flag touch points where customers are struggling and highlight places where they drop out. And you actually have some tools already available, some of them freemium. And when I say freemium, I mean you can start off for free and then for low cost software as a service charges, you can start to learn about adding on different features that will give you more information. One of the tools that I highly recommend persons explore, especially now that their price point has adjusted significantly, is HubSpot. HubSpot is a digital marketing tool that is also very big on education. And so for the entrepreneurs that I've supported through accelerators or other kinds of training programs, I often recommend that they visit HubSpot, if just for the information. HubSpot University has so much insight on digital marketing, and it stays on top of the trends. So when anything new comes about, it has updated information, and they have leveraged AI and built it into their processes. So it's actually a part of the offering. So one of the tools that you will be able to see and experience the utilization of AI and data and seeing how customers flow through a journey would be HubSpot. Not only can you now utilize tools like that to actually fix problems, but you can measure the impact. So you can see, utilizing the data, you can actually see what is happening at different stages of the journey. Now, this point here about buying from the team, in particular leadership, is going to play a critical role in the effectiveness, because many times you'll find that business owners don't want to be involved in the testing and the actual nitty-gritty. So even if it is a delegated task, it's still necessary for that internal person to actually do the walkthroughs and make sure that the things are happening in alignment with the outcomes that were intended. Now, this example is pointing out a customer journey process and this is a very simple example, guys, but it gives you a good sense of what a customer journey map's starting point would be, right? And you could add emotions to the different stages. And when I say add emotions, it simply could be, guys, a happy face or a sad face. You can use smiley faces. As a matter of fact, when you Google customer journey maps, you'll see some of them that have emojis so that it can easily articulate without words, what kind of experience persons may or may not have that could drive their interest or they're moving along the process. So let's walk through this customer journey example that you may also be able to relate to. We see an advertisement on social media. We've been talking about those social media ads, right? There's a sale on electronics. Nothing grabs a consumer's attention more than a sale, right? Then you click on that advertisement on social media, which may mean, if you're on your phone, it may mean, just touching on your phone and going and looking at the options. Or if you're on your laptop, you may just click and go through to look at a website, etc. You add a set of headphones to the cart, but they're left in the cart, right? Then you receive an email regarding the item to say that, hey, we saw that you left this in the cart. Now, keep in mind, guys, that in order for us to get from a place where you actually are able to get the email at some point in this journey, between seeing the ad, clicking on the ad, and putting the headphones in their cart, somebody would have to enter their email address somewhere, right? Otherwise, if there isn't an email capture in place, what could happen is they could have cookies that are placed inside the site. So whenever the person now leaves the website and goes off, they could have something pop up that is reminding them about the sale on headphones at this particular site that the person was on in lieu of an email. You can also set it up where on this person's journey, it's sitting in the cart and they decide to leave the page and a message says, hey, you have something in your cart. Did you want to leave an email address or did you forget to check out? All these different really cool tools that you can use. So they get the email and it says to them, hey, we saw that you were interested in this. How's about an extra 10% off? Those are the ones that always get me because me love to shop and I love a deal. So sometimes it'll be, hey, I'm going to go back because they're offering me something extra, right? Now, here is the person clicking on the email, following through on the purchase, buying the thing, and then it's now the notifications that come after. For some of us, we've made purchases and we don't get a tracking to say anything about the purchase. We just get the receipt to say, yes, we have your money. You don't know where it is in the process. All these different things will motivate or demotivate a customer from buying with you in the future. This is where retention now starts to come in. Now, the product arrives and they test it out, they leave a review. So that means that in order for them to leave a review, you have to have a place for them to leave a review, right? The company responds and offers a small discount for their next purchase. Loyalty is established, which leads to another future purchase for that business. All right. So let me tell you guys, like when you look, just reading through this, you can actually see where you might want to have potential stopping and touch points in the process for the person that is going through it to actually be able to say, yes, I am with you. I am feeling this, you know, all different kinds of ways for people to be encouraged along the path. So how does this actually land for you guys? Are you seeing yourself in this process? Are you seeing where you, right, as an individual that has gone through your own customer journey experiences online, can you see how somebody's journey map may have affected whether you are motivated or demotivated through a process? I want you to consider a recent significant purchase that you made and map out your journey to the best of your memory from start to finish. We're going to give you about 5 minutes to do that, to just map out a recent journey, customer journey that you were on. Choose one, if you can, that was either really great or really not so great. Think of a recent purchase that you made where you had that digital interaction and it was just so exceptional, your mind was blown. Or it was just like, I could see where they could really use some help in how they are relaying this to me. So just going to give you 5 minutes, guys, to come up with and remember, just think back, remember a recent experience that you've had and just jot down the process that you went through. If you can also, when you're doing that, think about that awareness stage, right? Awareness is where, you know, you first became present to the availability of this product or service. Just going to give you a couple of minutes to do that, and then I will circle back with you to give me some input. Okay, so we're now going to just take on a few of your answers. I would love to hear from you. I'm seeing if anybody is putting on their brave hat today and wanting to come on and speak and share an example. Andrea, yes. Okay, Miss Andrea, I see you there. Thank you so much for volunteering, putting on your brave hat today. Welcome. Tell us about a customer journey experience that you had recently.
Thank you. So I find that I have few bad ones because I typically these days, because I'm quick to write off now. So I'm gonna use one repurchasing office space. I met with the gentleman. We discussed for 2 hours the various permutations of the lease. We then decided on one because, of course, I went in with my chest high, and then in reality, and then but his personality was such that we were realigning to what would make win-win. So that too, in that the mindset of the supplier is also great. It's also important. So then it moved into the offer letter. He said, this is what I'm offering based on our conversation. And then I accepted that. Then we move into, and the deposit is the acceptance. And we agreed also that the deposit is the acceptance, not the word I accept, not the words I accept, but pay the deposit. That then moved into a receipt, because I need a receipt, even though it came from the wire. So even that was negotiated in the first meeting. I said, yeah, I want an old-fashioned receipt. So the receipt came. And then then I was to deliver the AC unit that I have in order to reduce the cost. So that was delivered. He then confirmed delivery. I just love that. the furniture is to remain, and he to send a list. He sent a list and sent the pictures of the furniture that's to stay in the office. Love that again. Then, then every weekend he sent photos of the work being done on the building to fix it up, which was really fantastic. And then so all of that. Now, by the time came for me, there was a viewing date set from day 0. The date for viewing was set. He called and said, hey, I'm not gonna make that date. I'm not gonna make that date. Give me 2 more days. I love that. So I said, send it to me an email, and he did.
Wow.
Got the email. So I'm still on the journey, and I imagine that when it's time to move in, I won't be disappointed.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Andrea. That is my kind of customer journey experience, the calls. So he's using all channels. It's not just digital. He's not just flipping over an email. He's also making sure that he has that more personal touch point. And I guarantee you that Andrea would recommend him to somebody else. Guaranteed.
Oh, of course, 10 times over.
10
and it's not
times
himself
over.
making the call, it's his right hand. And she is so simple and efficient and
nice.
she understands, there's no story coming in. They relay facts. This is where we're at.
Excellent.
I love that.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing, Andrea. Thank you so much. Kathy, over to you. And let me just say, big up to you guys stepping into your brave space. I noticed last week it was all polls and chat, but today we're turning the things up. Welcome. All right. Yes, Kathy.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My printer died. So I needed a new printer rather quickly because I'm a graphic designer and I also do print brokerage. So obviously, I like to see my stuff printed. I'm a little old school that way. So started searching online, came across a couple interesting looking printers. One particular store caught my eye. I thought, all right, let me check and see. And they could tell me on their website how many, if the printer that I want was actually available as opposed to out of stock. So I said, okay, great. I said, you know what? Let me go and see what this thing actually looked like and make sure it can do what I need. So I went into the store. From the time I hit the door, people were saying, hi, how are you? Welcome, making eye contact. And I not only ended up getting the printer, I bought a new keyboard. And these people are now my go-to for anything tech related, anything to do with the printer, the ink, anything. So I'm going to them because they went out of their way.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what's kind of sad? If I'm allowed to be a little cynical, they didn't go out of their way. They did what I would have expected as excellent customer service. But
That's good.
Become so rare nowadays.
Yes. Yes.
You go and the body on the phone and they ain't even looking at you. And you standing there like, honey, I pay your salary.
Totally get it.
You ain't walking.
Totally get it. And it's such a refreshing experience to have the opposite of that, isn't it? Awesome. Awesome.
I aim to give my people excellence at all levels, because you're gonna find cheaper stuff, whatever, but we have a saying, good thing no cheap and cheap thing no good.
Right.
So
awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kathy. I appreciate you. And again, I love that both digital as well as personal interaction, where you're feeling the same sense of the journey. So they've clearly mapped out from whether it's online or it's in person, this is what we want that experience to be. All right, so I'll take my last one from Leoy. Thank you so much, Leoy.
No problem. Hi, everyone. So this one is probably not positive, so I guess we could balance this out that way. I would have gone online, let's say to Instagram, to a company, and they would have listed different products. Then they also listed their website where you could shop, right? So then I clicked on that, went to the website, looked at the list of items, and there were no prices. They indicated that now I have to reach out to them. When you try calling them, you can't get through. They say that they're only available in WhatsApp. You message them via WhatsApp, you have to wait 2 or 3 days. I over it, no longer interested in the product.
Yes, so that demotivation, it's like the
Mhm.
process from awareness to even trying. Like it's literally like you're trying to get the product, right? And that shouldn't be the experience that we create for our customers. And so what I actually love about this, guys, even if you don't have your own examples for when you're talking with the BSOs, you can use examples from class, right? You can use examples from persons who have shared with us today on how things may have gone for them positively or negatively. I do have one submission in the chat, shopping on Shein with a young lady. Young you is soon to be graduate for work attire as she prepares for the workforce. Reviewed items bring up appropriate recommendations and price point, and the site has recently changed the format to now have, for example, business attire store, carting items, changing or deleting items, entering payment info, tracking along the entire shipment journey to landing and available at a local agent. Non-invasive messaging or notifications along the entire process. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love when it's clean, it's simple, it adjusts to your needs. You know, like if you're always going to a particular site that sells multiple things and you just really want to go there for the shoes because they like the shoes. And the next time you go after 3 times, AI has now learned, oh, well, you're going to be looking for shoes. So let me show you the new shoes first, right? Like, I mean, this is the beauty of digital transformation. And this is the priority that we need to have our BSOs place on doing customer journey mapping. So I think you guys get it. I'm happy that you get it. We can now move on to digital marketing. All right. So some of the types of digital marketing and things that you want to consider are what we're going to be going over in this segment. Now, when you think about digital marketing, I think a lot of persons expected that digital marketing was going to take away or is going to take away traditional marketing. I think what we have actually grown to appreciate and understand over the last few years, as we've seen marketing agencies expand the way that they think about marketing, is that there is a nice, or should be, a nice play between the digital and the traditional means of marketing and of engaging with our customers. So what you're seeing here are some of the more common platforms or tools that are used to support digital marketing. And when I first started to do real in-depth digital marketing, remember I was telling y'all about the digital marketing agency that I started? Well, I went on, let me tell you, you would think that that's what I did in school. Like I went on a deep dive, immersive digital marketing experience because I just thought it was really, really cool that we were able to use technology to map out behavior and then adjust the way that we spoke to people, adjust what we were selling to them, adjust how we were selling to them, all through the comfort of my little laptop sitting right here. So the different areas that, different tools, platforms that we have identified here include SEO, which is search engine optimization. And search engine optimization, for those of you that are new to the phrase or hear it but aren't 100% sure of what it means, is essentially utilizing specific words on your website, landing page, blog site, any of those platforms where you are, to actually help persons find you more readily. So the persons that show up on that first or second page of Google, it's not accidental. They are utilizing search engine optimization. The work is to optimize how you are found on Google or on Bing or any of the platforms that you use. So search engine optimization helps and support that. I will say it's probably one of the more nuanced methods of digital marketing. And so I highly recommend working with a search engine optimization expert who has a track record that they can show you. Because everybody will say, yeah, man, I know SEO. And then you spend your money and you're not really seeing the benefit. You're still showing up on Google page 10 instead of Google page 2. All right, social media. Now we all are familiar with social media. And this is, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Can I tell you? Not for my clients, but for myself, right? Because today I will love posting. I will want to be present. I will want to be putting out something on the feed, in my story, in the chat. I'll want to do it across every channel, right? I want to do it on X, on Facebook, on IG, on LinkedIn, on Threads. You name it, I want to be there, and I'll be just on my phone, posting. And then there'll be another day or week or 2 or a month where I don't want to see social media. I don't want to be on the feed. I don't want to read the feed. You understand what I'm saying? It is just one of those kind of relationships, yeah? And so what is really key is for you to recognize, well, what kind of social media really works for my BSOs that I'm supporting, and be able to help them to identify that for themselves, right? So when you're looking at working with companies, not everything, it's not every shoe, every digital marketing shoe that fits. Okay, there are different types of shoes that fit for different types of businesses. And it's really important to understand that, because you also don't want to create this overwhelm and feeling of, you know, I just can't manage all of the different pieces of digital that I have to do. Digital marketing can consume a business and can consume business owners' attention, so much so that the rest of the digital transformation that's really important to actually help to build capacity for them and capability inside of the organization, you know, improving productivity and efficiency, it can literally monopolize their time in the marketing space, so they don't have time to spend on the other side. So you really want to make sure that you're not just throwing every single medium at them, right? So we talked about SEO, social media, you have the different platforms. Some businesses do better on other platforms as opposed to all platforms. I highly recommend that if a company is new to social media, that they don't just jump on, they make sure that they actually sit down and do a persona, you know, definition, like, who am I? Who is my ideal dream customer? Who am I talking to? Who do I want to be addressing when I hop onto social? Because that not only affects which social media platform you use, but it also affects the type of posting that you do, where to post, what time you post, how often you post, right? And I'll give you an example. My podcast, the Balanced Lady Boss Show, is specifically targeting women who are primarily in corporate and those who may have their own businesses but are far along that curve, right? And so for a while, I was pushing the information on Instagram and on Facebook, and you would get some response. And even though I had my persona and I knew what to say, what I then realized is, you know, LinkedIn is literally the platform for professionals. Why am I spending all this time putting this information over here on Instagram when ideally I have people who are going to LinkedIn focused on information related to their professional lives? Similarly, for any business that you're interacting with or supporting, that's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to talk to them about, you know, what exactly is it that you are trying to communicate, and to whom? The who is most important, right? And so you want to be able to help them to make sure that they're clear on their personas. And you'd be so surprised. You have businesses who have been around for 10, 20 decades, and they don't have their personas identified. So similarly to the customer journey map being documented, you want to make sure that your personas, whoever you're talking to, that is also documented, because it impacts whichever platform you choose for social media. Digital advertising is specifically related to doing ads utilizing digital. So whether it is you're running a Google ad or you're running ads on YouTube, which Google technically can, cover both platforms, general Google advertising as well as in platform advertising like on YouTube, or if you're going to be using Instagram and Facebook or Meta, advertising to promote or support the business. And whenever thinking about digital advertising, you always want to make sure that you are considering two different types of approaches. Sometimes you want to think about, whether or not you're moving your customer towards the pleasure of having their solution. So that's going to be the positioning of the ad, right? So let's say, for example, you are a dentist, right? Or the BSO is a dentist, and they are going to be putting out 2 ads on their platform. So whether it's email, which we're going to talk about next, or social media, and they put out one ad that says, having a toothache, can't eat your favorite meal because your tooth starts to hurt, then come make an appointment at so and so and so and so and so. That is a pain-focused ad. Move me away from the pain is the conversation you're having with the customer. And then on the other hand, they could say, have a wedding coming up, want to make sure that your teeth are white and shiny, right? And as a bride, I'm thinking, yes, I want to smile very good for my picture. So I'm going to move towards the pleasure that will give me when I see my pictures and my beautiful smile, right? And you can actually have your BSOs test out this advertising, which is the power of digital. It's not the same like you're going to purchase a radio ad or a TV ad and you get to buy 2 TV ads or 2 radio ads, because that would not only cost you a significant amount of money, but it doesn't land the same in terms of the messaging. It's so much simpler and far more cost effective to actually do that kind of A/B testing using digital advertising, right? And there's, of course, different types of ads or ways that the ads pop up. And depending on which platform you're using for placing your ads, digital advertising can serve you inside of social media platforms, as well as just generally when persons are browsing the web. Now, email is a very, very powerful, and in the Caribbean region, I will say, one of the most critical digital marketing tools that's still in its very embryonic phase. I do have a great deal of respect for organizations like Caribbean Export that has a very vibrant way of communicating through its newsletters. And that type of email engagement is what actually works really well, because sometimes people start to look out for your messages. Now they know that the every week or every other week message is coming out, and they know that you provide certain products or services that are really important to a business's success. And so they look out for that. They look out for the announcement of the new courses, or for the announcement of the accelerators or the downloadables, etc. And so email is something that I highly encourage businesses to take on and consider, because more importantly than anything else, guys, email is one of the best ways to get customers onto your platform. Remember that with Google and with Meta and IG and WhatsApp, etc., customers are operating on somebody else's platform. It's like you're renting space, right? You're renting digital space when you're using social media and in some forms digital advertising. Email is going out from you and returning to you. And it was ranked as the #1 or the largest share in terms of digital marketing approaches, had the largest customer share in the United States. This was back in like 2015, 2016 through to 2019. Social media has gained quite a bit of traction, but what's key to remember is that while social media has gained traction, our BSOs need to understand that the customer is your customer when they are in your CRM, when you have their email address and phone number in your system. I'm sure some of you remember when or have experienced when any of these platforms go down and everybody starts losing their mind because they don't have the customer information, things they had planned, they can't get in touch with their customers, etc., etc. So email is a really great way to bridge that gap between what is available to you on a rental platform space versus what is available to you that you can control. And then last but not least, it's pay-per-click. And pay-per-click can be considered a subset of digital advertising. But this is where when you are running and you're running ads, the actual cost that you have to pay when somebody clicks on one of your advertisements that you're running. And when you're utilizing tools like Meta or Google, you can actually see what it is costing you to get a customer. So it'll show you, well, okay, for each of the different times that somebody clicked, it has cost you $1, $5. Pay-per-click is usually impacted by location. So if, for instance, in the Caribbean, you're in the Caribbean and you're selling to Caribbean folks, that pay-per-click cost is lower than if you're selling to somebody in the US or Canada or EU, for instance. So when you're thinking even about just, the customer that you're talking to, who you're trying to reach, and preparing a budget for that, and you're saying to your BSOs, you need to have your personas identified, make sure geography is located in that, because then you'll be able to now follow that up with, well, depending on the type of digital advertising you are choosing to use, you have to take your budget into consideration, because if you're based in the Caribbean and your target market is diaspora, you're going to incur more significant fees than if you're marketing to somebody that's in your backyard in Trinidad or in St. Lucia. All right. Now, the American Marketing Association has 3 different ways that they talk about digital marketing. And these 3 methods, hearing somebody, these 3 methods are the most common ways when you're thinking about creating a digital marketing strategy, right? And first and foremost, it is whether it's owned, paid, or earned. So any type of media that is owned or controlled by the organization, so that as the website, blog, or a podcast, for example, if it's paid, so ads that are displayed by a third party.
I'm on a Zoom meeting now.
Ads that are displayed by a third party, paid for by the company. So just as we were talking about just recently, if you're on a website, somebody's website, or if you're on Facebook or on Instagram, all of those are considered paid because it's paid advertising. It's something that you have to pay for. And then there is earned, which is now what we consider organic. And the earned approach is typically where it requires more content generation. So paid is cash because you have the money. Earned is time because you're using the time to create the content or to engage with somebody that is creating the content. So whether it is that maybe you were able to partner with someone to be a part of a podcast, like maybe you were a guest on a podcast, right? Or maybe you were a guest on a blog, you got to write a guest blog post, or you were interviewed and the interview is placed on somebody's platform, right? So this is kind of how the 3 buckets that you want your BSOs to think about digital marketing and where they want, when they're creating the strategy, how much of my strategy and my budget is going to be dedicated towards paid advertising or towards paid digital marketing. How much of my time, energy, and focus is going to be towards earned? Am I going to be generating a lot of content so there's more organic, or am I going to be paying for that outside? All right. So as we discussed, it's important for businesses to engage with customers on their terms while making it clear to the customer that they are being listened to, they're being heard and valued. A company's digital marketing strategy should consider that persona, who their customer is, and how to reach them. Like, I am probably better reached by email because I check that more regularly, even though I'm on social media. Know your customer, right? It should be built around the business's goals. So we go back again to when we talked in a couple sessions ago, having the main strategy and then layering on top of that, the digital strategy. Businesses can use digital tools to help to find their target audience. And this is where we were talking about using artificial intelligence and machine learning to actually understand what the target audiences are doing online and how to turn those behavioral insights into messaging or into the pathways that you are going to choose to engage with those customers. Technology like that takes the guesswork. Remember, we talked about guess and spell? Yes. The tech takes the guesswork out of choosing a social platform or email or any other kind of digital marketing approach that does not or does address your target audience, right? So it makes you clear on who is where and what they are responding to. And then you can determine how you want to build your strategy to support that. Now, there was a case study that was included in your paper, in your manual, in your student manual. And actually, I understand that you weren't able to actually access the book that it references. And thankfully, Kathy, Star student, Kathy actually was able to send me an email that where she identified that she was having this challenge. And then she found a couple of sites that had the story because they clearly were using it as a marketing, some kind of approach for their marketing PR. There was some PR built around it. So I've just shared in the chat, the links to the story. I will also send a follow-up email, guys, just so that you can have these links and you can take a look at the case study and we can use it for our next session as our starting point, like we did last week. All right. So the primary focus is on what the company did correctly. What did they do right? So again, I've dropped in the chat the links. And Letitia says, I'm not receiving any emails. Okay, Letitia, can you please just private message me your email address? I'm not sure why you wouldn't be receiving the email so that I can make sure that you are getting them. So just private message me your email address and I'll make sure that you are receiving them. All right. Okay, now we touched on social media as a key component of your digital marketing strategy. And of course, when you are building out your strategy and incorporating social media, then the social media content piece, you need to have a plan for that particular area of focus. So while you may have a digital marketing strategy, once you have social media outlined, you will need a social media plan in order to address the content needs because social media is very content heavy. And if this is one of the key areas that is going to be utilized for your business, in particular, there are certain businesses that just thrive on social media. Retail is one of those because there is just so much noise everywhere about retail. Utilizing social media in addition to email marketing. So social media and email marketing work really well together for retail entities in ensuring that persons are seeing you in different lights and becoming aware of your products and services. And so because social media has both video as well as static content, whether it's imagery or words, and it requires consistency, then you definitely want to make sure that you have a content strategy or a plan that is aligned with the platform that you're on. For some persons, for businesses that aren't necessarily liking doing video, if you don't like doing video, it doesn't mean that you can't be on social media, right? I'm a ham. I like everything. Give me the video, give me the picture, all of the above. I will take it, right? But if you find that, you're not really attuned to video, then that's fine. You can actually still go forward utilizing, maybe static images. If you don't want a picture at all, you can use words, right? And words on social media platforms like Instagram and Threads is very, very powerful and can prove to be very effective. And guys, this is where the AI can really help you. ChatGPT will support you in building out those social media strategies. So as you're working with your BSOs, it's really helpful for them to know that there are lots of different tools to support them. So they don't, again, start to feel that overwhelm and feel as though, oh my gosh, this is too hard for me. This is going to be a difficult lift. You know, it becomes a lot simpler because they can get a jump start from the AI. Here, it's listing out social media content strategy. Interestingly enough, a lot of people consider YouTube to actually be social media, but YouTube is actually a search engine, right? And so while you are talking about utilizing YouTube for social, you want to ensure your BSOs recognize that YouTube's main purpose is search engine optimization. What does that mean for you and using YouTube? The content that goes on YouTube, you need to make sure that the words that are being put in the description are hitting on the things that your perfect customer wants to hear. You also want to ensure that whatever is being used as the title of the videos or the heading, the name of your page, all of those things, you want to make sure that they are search engine optimized, that the words are words that your people are looking for. And Twitter, as you know, is now X. Wonderful Elon Musk there. Okay, so incorporating an effective social media presence into the marketing plan is a key way to reach your ideal customer and potential customer. Depending on the competitors, as well as who you're talking to and what your solution is, then different types of content will need to be created to make sure that you are supporting that. And because social is so accessible, you can literally find what you need through looking at not just competitors, but companies that are doing similar things. Okay. And then after creating a plan, businesses should post regularly without overdoing it in order to avoid irritating the customer. And what has happened with platforms, guys, is that they become so dynamic. Sometimes you'll post something and a week will go by before some of your potential followers will see the post. So they become really dynamic in how the algorithms actually push content on the feed to also support businesses in their execution of their strategic plans. There are a few tips that are also included in your manual around things you want to consider as you are developing a social media strategy. And we've talked about a few of these things, looking at doing live video, contests, giveaways, and collaboration with influencers are great ways to encourage engagement and drive traffic. People love that, and which is why when TikTok came out with all the dancing, everybody was dancing. That was a big deal. All of a sudden, everybody started to dance so that they could entertain, right? So there's education, there's entertainment, and there's, of course, just information. So you want to try to touch on all three of those things in different ways. Knowing the customer and paying attention to the analytics, we've been talking about that all morning. Staying on top of the trends and paying attention to current events, and finding ways to incorporate the current events into the content that you're putting out because people are interested in that content. Listening to the audience, like when they're commenting on social media platforms and how they respond to other people's comments are great ways to find out whether they're engaging or not. And of course, making sure to be authentic. Social is one of those places where you can for sure be authentic in how you are communicating. Now, one of the final notes that we want to make sure that you recognize is you want to also, and I think I mentioned this a little bit before, that you can really make or break your reputation utilizing the digital channels. So you want to monitor and manage online reputation through your social media channels, especially if the businesses are deciding to use social for customer service. Like a lot of companies will sometimes use Facebook, for example, or Twitter. They'll use those platforms as a way for customers to actually lodge complaints. You just have to be aware that if you're using that path, that other customers have clear visibility, and so responsiveness is going to be very key. According to research, more than 3/4 of customers expect to hear back from a brand within 24 hours after reaching out about an issue. And so if you're on social media and you're unable to actually commit to that type of responsiveness, 24 to 48 hours, then you may want to reconsider where you actually put that insight. How businesses react to negative reviews and issues can have a big impact on public perception of them. And it's not uncommon to see consumers post publicly about poor customer service experiences when a business fails to respond to an issue in a timely manner, which we just talked about, right? And so if a customer has really great following or a huge range in terms of where they're connected online, it can significantly negatively impact a business's reputation and affect how they actually are able to retain existing customers and attract new customers. Pastry Passions is the case study that was given. It's a company here in Jamaica. I've actually bought from them before. And you can take a look at their social media and kind of talk about or think about what was done well and why it was impactful. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's conversation. If there are any questions at this time, we only have a couple of minutes remaining, but I'd be very happy to take any questions that you may have. Also confirming that I have the email addresses for the persons who have said they are not receiving emails, and I'll be sure to make sure to get back to you so that you are receiving the manuals in particular and any communication that is to go out from me. All right. Any questions for me, please? I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I see Iola says, great session. Thank you. Thank you, Iola. Can't wait to see you guys again this week. If you liked it, it would be your Aki too. If you liked Aki, it would be your Aki too. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Excellent. All right. Christoph says, high expectations, not disappointed. Yay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Philip has posted a SurveyMonkey link in the chat, and he's asking that you share this link with fellow BSOs. So just asking for your support where that is concerned. The link is posted in the chat, asking for it to be shared with fellow BSOs. No, we have a whole Aki conversation going on because Kathy wants the Aki that Iola is not going to eat. All right, guys. So that's our time today. I want to say thank you so much for your participation and your engagement. I really do appreciate your showing up and showing enthusiasm for our sessions. We will be back for our next upcoming session. I'm looking forward to that conversation that we have coming up, where we'll be focusing on another area that I absolutely love, which is organization and people. Because with digital transformation, I can tell you that is what makes it successful. People will make or break the success of your digital transformation efforts. And so I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you guys in our next session. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Take care and enjoy your week.
Okay, guys. See you on Thursday.
See you on Thursday.